And then I heard her scream, no, it hurts, stop it. And the screaming, it went on for a few minutes.
I've been cooperative up to this point, and now you're trying to frame murder on me, so.
No, we're not framing
You
it.
are.
You're getting
All
started. David, what part of we have the whole Blink video are you not understanding?
Maybe she just kind of went over the edge.
In 2020, Gretchen Anthony became so sick that she needs to be hospitalized. But her family had no idea that this was just the beginning of a twisted and shocking case. When no one heard from Gretchen for a few days, they began to fear that she wasn't just sick, she was missing. While investigators began the daunting task of untangling a convoluted web of lies, they never could have expected that the final clue to what actually happened would eventually come from Gretchen herself. In March 2020, 51-year-old Gretchen and her 43-year-old husband, David Anthony, were facing turbulent times. After David lost his job in February, he needed a distraction. Dreaming of distant beaches, David mapped out a solo trip, then packed up his truck. Soon he hit the road, leaving their home in Jupiter and started a long drive from Florida to California, while Gretchen stayed behind and worked. Things started to go south on the weekend of March 21, 2020, when Gretchen told her friends and family she was feeling ill. Over the next few days, things only got worse. According to her messages, she sought medical treatment at a local emergency room and was transported an hour away to a specialized CDC facility in Belle Glade, Florida, after testing positive for COVID. Then her messages stopped completely. Her radio silence for 3 to 4 days left her family feeling worried, and after several unsuccessful attempts to locate her, they called the police for help. When authorities learned of David's travel plans, they knew they had to catch up with him. Of all people, he seemed most likely to offer clues as to Gretchen's whereabouts, and for all they know, she might have been along for the ride. A week after Gretchen first fell ill, David made it to Las Cruces, New Mexico. There were red and blue lights in his rearview mirror as officers initiated a traffic stop.
Go ahead and get your hands off the vehicle, please. Hands out the vehicle. Driver. He rolled his window up. Put your hands up. Hands up. Hands up so I can see him. Keep him up for me, please.
David is given minimal information from officers as he's handcuffed and detained.
Right now you're being detained for an investigation that's going on in Florida, okay? That's all I know. That's all I can tell you. You're not going to leave here until you talk to some detectives that are on their way.
Bewildered, David complies as authorities ask him for photos.
The best point.
Once the detective arrives, he takes David aside to explain what's happening and records the conversation.
All right, so this is about your wife. Okay, I guess she's been reported missing.
Last I heard, she was in a CDC facility getting treatment for coronavirus.
And see, what makes you believe that?
Our sister texted it to me.
Where's the CDC place at?
She didn't mention it.
According to David, he last saw Gretchen last Saturday, the 21st of March, the same day she later started to feel sick.
Have you had any contact with her since?
No.
No text message or phone calls?
Mm-hmm.
But according to David, things were also a bit off back at home. Recently, their marriage had taken a turn for the worse.
Where does she live at?
She lives in Jupiter.
In Jupiter? Do you live with her?
No.
According to David, he and Gretchen had recently separated, and court documents suggest the same, revealing that Gretchen filed for divorce exactly 1 month prior. Even so, things seemed mostly amicable between the two.
When the last time you talked to your wife, you said it was face-to-face. How was that conversation between the two of you? Was it okay?
Yeah, we moved in the
No argument, right?
Even though we didn't get along, I love her. Just didn't see eye to eye on things, and this is how things go.
What were some of the things you guys didn't get along about?
She never cooked.
She never cooked?
Sometimes you date a 5 thinking she's a 10, or vice versa. Maybe she thought the same with me. You know? Right.
After a quick glance in his vehicle, authorities can see Gretchen didn't tag along. so they're hopeful David can at least help shed light on her whereabouts. Unfortunately, David can't offer any more details than her family, but he does leave officers with one last thing. In light of her disappearance, something Gretchen mentioned in their last conversation is now leaving him feeling very unsettled.
Because when we talked, she mentioned, like, I don't know how much I can share without, like, you know what I mean? Like, she mentioned being in trouble.
Like David, Gretchen's friends and family have a gnawing suspicion that something may not be right, something that goes beyond just her health. Lately, her texts seem strange, with a shift in her communication patterns. Gretchen also sent her daughter Ava messages about limiting her cell phone use. Others received texts that she was in and out of consciousness, and doctors were considering a medically induced coma after she experienced partial lung failure. And yet, even when she said she required a ventilator to breathe, she was still able to send texts. Were these strange messages coming from someone else? Were the messages intentional red herrings from Gretchen herself? Only time would tell. It wasn't long before her ex-husband Jeff stopped buying the story altogether.
I found out from a dear friend who's a physician that firstly they don't ship anybody off-site,
right,
or transport anybody off-site.
Right.
There is no CDC or coronavirus task force facility, and any patients that are presenting signs of coronavirus are treated at the hospital. That seemed awfully fishy to me. You know, I was smelling rats left and right.
But it was no secret that Gretchen has been under tremendous pressure lately. Between the divorce with David and other personal issues, it seemed possible that Gretchen just snapped. This prompts police to extend their search to both Gretchen and David's property. Unfortunately for David, after speaking with the detective, the New Mexico authorities execute a search warrant for David's truck and phone. Because he answered all of their questions and there's no evidence that he has any idea where Gretchen might be, the authorities let him go. However, he's now on foot without access to his vehicle, which has been taken into custody, leaving him stranded in the streets of Las Cruces, New Mexico with his husky, Kobe. With David released, authorities continue looking for Gretchen. As there was no sign of her with David, they turn back to Florida. There they gain access to her home to perform a welfare check.
Alpha 42, Team 51.
But as soon as they get to the garage, what they find, which will soon be revealed, suggests something darker may be at play. In the meantime, they obtain a search warrant, moving carefully from room to room as they comb for clues in this strange case. Right off the bat, a few things stand out as potentially strange. They find a fallen picture frame in Gretchen's upstairs hallway and shattered glass in her bedroom. But some of the most valuable evidence authorities would find, evidence that would spell out Gretchen's recent activity, wasn't physical at all. Instead, it was waiting for them in her cloud storage. By now, it's clear that Gretchen has turned off her phone location completely. Although she was an active user of the Life 360 location app, she was no longer available to her contacts, including her daughter. Looking for answers, police turned to her neighbors and began knocking on doors. What they found out only increased their suspicions.
Did you notice that there's a stain in the driveway?
Yeah, I did notice the white stain.
Okay.
When Gretchen's sister spoke with another neighbor, she immediately relayed what she'd learned to the police, something that might explain the unusual stain in Gretchen's driveway.
A woman that lives behind Gretchen, her name is Christy, and I guess she smelled a strong smell of bleach coming from the house.
Though he'd been released in Las Cruces, a Florida detective catches up with David over the phone. He drops a shocking new revelation, explaining that all the inconsistencies in this case are not what they seem, and in addition to her ongoing struggle with COVID, Gretchen was dealing with something far more sinister.
I spoke with Gretchen today.
You spoke with Gretchen today?
She's prepared a statement to give to you.
Okay.
Gretchen is receiving treatment for the COVID virus. Before she contacted the virus, she uncovered illegal federal tax fraud. She's in communication with OSHA in the Office of Special Counsel as she prepares her whistleblower case. Gretchen's terrified for her life. Someone was sent to her house to hurt her the other weekend.
According to David, Gretchen has never actually been missing. Instead, she's been in hiding, and she's not convinced that everyone in her life is safe. With David still on foot in New Mexico, authorities hope he hasn't gotten far. After 3 days, they catch a lucky break. He's spotted outside a local gas station in Las Cruces. This time, the circumstances surrounding his questioning are very different. The same Florida detective David spoke with on the phone arrives in New Mexico to speak with him directly and to deliver shocking news.
You are under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest, and I'm going to explain that when we get back to the... Excuse me? For what? Homicide.
For who?
Who do you think?
Once in custody, authorities explain the situation. But David doesn't stray from what he told the detective over the phone.
We have obtained enough evidence to obtain a warrant for your arrest for murder. Okay? I want you to understand that. She's alive. I want you to understand that. And what's most important to us right now is to find out where she is.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to tell you where she is.
Okay.
But I don't have that information. I'm going to have to ask her.
Detectives don't want to reveal all their cards just yet, but they're about to share a disturbing story that they stumbled upon by pure chance.
And we gathered a lot of information that I'm sure you're not aware of. There was a neighbor that heard the entire incident on Saturday morning at 6:30 who lives across the way. I want you to think about that real quick.
What incident?
The incident that occurred at Gretchen's home.
You have to give me more information.
In a stroke of luck, police uncovered a shocking piece of evidence as they canvassed Gretchen's neighborhood. A woman approached them, unprompted, with a chilling recollection.
Because on Saturday morning, I guess it was Saturday because of the pictures, but I heard, I was asleep upstairs in my room, and I heard a really serious woman scream, just screaming, like she was being attacked. And then I heard her scream, "No," and then I heard something about "it hurts, stop it."
As the witness walks the officer around the back alley to point out where these screams came from, she adds one more chilling detail.
The screaming it went on for a few minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't like, that's why I thought maybe it was kids, but there wasn't nobody was yelling help. Nobody was yelling help, which is why I didn't call the police.
And as police would later learn, this split-second decision may have changed everything. Back with David, investigators begin attempting to unravel the disturbing story.
There is a neighbor who observed her driveway covered in a bleach or cleaning product, drenched, coming out of the driveway, coming down the driveway and out of the garage.
What does that have to do with me?
You don't know anything about that?
That's what I'm asking you.
Okay.
According to a recorded tip called in by another neighbor, all of these strange pieces of evidence may be adding up to an alarming truth. On the call, the man explains to an officer that his security camera picked up something strange in the neighborhood around 5:45 a.m. last Saturday, the day that Gretchen supposedly went missing.
I know I was, told, look for a black pickup truck. And there was one that kind of came by, early in the morning. Looked like it was trying to hitch up to the boat trailer, but then just took off.
And this wasn't the only sighting of a black pickup in Gretchen's neighborhood on the morning she seemed to vanish. The woman who heard screaming noises near Gretchen's home also noticed a pickup truck parked outside her house, and she took photos. The truck appeared to be David's, which meant that he may actually be one of the last people to see Gretchen before her disappearance. While this doesn't prove anything, it certainly raises red flags. But when the detectives confront David with this possibility, he drops hints that something far more sinister is at play.
Who saw your truck?
Were you at Gretchen's residence last Saturday at 6:30 in the morning?
She told me they stole my vehicle, so.
I did. I'm asking you to be truthful with us.
Instead, David leaves detectives with a strange comment to untangle.
This is like dealing with deep pockets here. You know, there's a lot more to this than just, you know.
Deep pockets.
I love and care for her.
Okay.
And part of that's got me in this position now, but I'll, you know, protect her. She's my wife.
At this very moment, police aren't buying David's story. They know much more than they're letting on, and in due time, they'll reveal it to David. They're hopeful that when they finally reveal the shocking evidence they've been collecting behind the scenes, evidence straight from Gretchen's mouth, that the truth will finally come out. For now, David's story takes a drastic turn.
You know, she likes drugs. You know, at one point, she mentioned she's like seeing 22 guys. You know, she's got notes. You have the safe in the car, right? You got that? You got that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, and you know, if you have her phone and unlock her phone, you'll see, you know.
Why do you have her phone?
Before authorities tracked David down, they tried to find Gretchen's phone, and as long as it stayed on, their efforts worked. On a recorded call, the police discussed their findings, and it doesn't take long before the reality of this situation begins to sink in. Nothing they've been told so far can be taken as fact.
I pinged her phone, and it's showing in Gulf Breeze, Florida, as of 12:15 p.m. today, and that's probably when she shut off her phone.
Where?
Gulf Breeze, Florida. It's by Pensacola.
Really?
Instead of turning up at a local hospital where Gretchen was allegedly seeking help, her phone pinged at a location over 8 hours away. In the interrogation room, David stumbles to provide an explanation.
I have her phone. Well, she had her phone.
Mm-hmm.
So she was traveling with me.
Okay.
Up until El Paso. We were driving separate vehicles, so she bolted.
What car was she driving?
I'm not, like I said, I'm going to protect her and her whereabouts because everyone can be bought. And as much as I know you guys are doing your job, I don't know. I've seen the other end of manipulation of information to skew and or to try to shape an objective. And so.
Yet when Gretchen's family went to the local hospital looking for her, they noticed something that made the cell phone evidence of her whereabouts even more unusual. Her car was parked outside the hospital, and her purse was still inside it. Detectives also discovered footage of David attempting to pawn what appeared to be Gretchen's jewelry at a shop in Pensacola, Florida.
So going back to Saturday morning, were you at her home Saturday morning?
You said you saw my vehicle there, so.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you.
I understand what you're asking me, but you, like I said, shaping a narrative. So.
Okay.
So what happened after you got to her house?
You saw my vehicle there, so. It's between me and her. You know, I'm husband and wife, so I can enact that right.
Okay.
Even if David isn't talking, others are. While he uses his marriage as a strange excuse to shut down, authorities are flooded with tips on a dedicated hotline. As they sort through information, however, any evidence of Gretchen's alleged whistleblower case just isn't surfacing. If there was anyone who meant to do her harm, they were hiding it well. That is, until police receive a tip that stopped them in their tracks. While people close to Gretchen begin to suspect that David might somehow be involved in her disappearance, a conversation with Gretchen's ex-husband offers something much more valuable than rumors. Gretchen's own words. And they had nothing to do with a high-profile court case. Thankfully, this wouldn't be the last time that, against all odds, Gretchen was able to speak for herself. Just days before she mysteriously disappeared, Gretchen sent a text to her ex regarding their daughter. In a call, Jeff reads it to police.
March 19th at 8:44 a.m. Please do not take calls or allow David to see. He's in a state of mania. He just got out of jail, and I'm afraid he might try to see her before he leaves for Costa Rica. He is bipolar and in a state of mania. He doesn't know what he's doing. Not that that's an excuse, but it scares me because I don't know what he is capable of.
While David was known to his family to be bipolar, they also insisted he didn't have a violent bone in his body. But according to Gretchen's close friend, David's behavior shifted over the past few years after a terrifying accident.
David was underneath the car working on the car. He had it lifted up. The car fell off the lift and on his head. The ambulance had to come, and he was in the hospital for a long time. It was a very serious head injury. Gretchen, and then even Gretchen's sister, said to me that David was never the same after that mentally.
If David suffered from traumatic brain injury during this alleged accident, that could potentially explain recent changes in behavior.
Do you have to tell me I'm being recorded or no?
Excuse me?
Do you have to tell me I'm being recorded?
No, you're in a police department. There's really no expectation of privacy.
Rules have changed, huh?
What's that?
Rules have changed.
No, it's always been like that.
Kind of skewed towards y'all.
No, you're in a police department. There's really no expectation of privacy.
Authorities segue into David's past, which included 2 recent incidents with police. David explains that the first incident occurred when he was detained after having what he called a spiritual experience during a wellness seminar in a local shopping mall. When staff asked him to leave for disrupting the event, things took a turn.
And then I leave and I go sit on the sidewalk outside. And mall security comes, and then Broward County Sheriff had like a whole, they've got like a whole unit wherever that is. And so they show up and they said that I was claiming I was going to kill myself and like just making up things.
According to David, a simple misinterpretation by police led to a Baker Act detention, which is a temporary mental health hold in the state of Florida.
And then 3 weeks after that, I'm at Palm Beach Shores, and I get detained. And like this is like 3 weeks after the Broward County thing. So when I get detained, I just go straight to the ground.
Yeah.
David explains that after realizing his dog was still in the vehicle with no air conditioner, he stood up to roll down the windows, and before he knew it, police descended on him.
Did we deal with you previously sleeping in this vehicle out at like the 7-Eleven?
I have my medical records. I'll give you my...
I'm asking you a question, sir. I'm not asking for your medical records.
No.
Because your dog looks familiar.
No, I just got them 6 weeks ago.
What were you trying to grab out of that car?
When I had to body slam myself into the car to get you out.
I was just scared.
No, you weren't.
I was.
I literally had to body slam myself into your car to drag you out.
I was scared.
I came out of the car. Is your dog nice?
Yes, he loves humans. He loves females. His name's Kobe. Okay.
What's in the black bag that's in the center console of the car?
I need a counsel. I need legal counsel.
You don't want to talk?
All right.
No problem. Well, your dog's in the car with it not on and the windows
Well,
all the way
it was
open.
on, but I was scared you guys were going to get, that I was going to run, so then I turned on, but he was hot, so I turned it back on.
That him, I got my glasses are in my car because
When you were on the ground and I went to cuff you, you thought because I was 5'2", you could jump up and get in the car. Little did you know, I
Ask
pulled
who
you back
the
out.
owner of this car was.
I got your out of the car because you thought you were being slick.
I wasn't in the car. I was on the ground. Right, officer? Where's the officer who's...
Hey, my man, you just exercise your rights to be quiet, right?
All right.
That's smart, man. Keep doing that.
All right.
And then the police report is like, I was like trying to solicit some 15-year-old girls, and I was nervous and sweaty, and...
David makes an accusation about those very same police officers.
And then they were talking about how they would use Photoshop to make their bruises on their pictures look worse.
But body camera footage from the incident suggests there may have been more at play. During that incident, when the responding officer approached David earlier that night, he noticed tape altering his license plate, which David claimed was from his stepdaughter playing around.
Kids, what are you going to do? You okay?
Not really. No, I don't take anything out of your car. Don't take anything out of your car, sir. 7094.
Turn it off. Turning it off. That's all I was doing, turn it off.
Sit down right there.
Okay.
Do not move. When I tell you not to get something out of your car, you don't get anything out.
As the first officer waited for backup to arrive, David continued to ignore his instructions, eventually leading to an arrest after the lady officer, quote, had to body slam herself in his car.
Detain him.
Get out.
Can I get up?
No, get
No.
down.
I'm standing up.
Get.
My leg.
Turn around.
Get out. Now. Get out.
Get him. I got him at gunpoint.
Get out of the car. All right.
Drop it! Drop it! Whatever it is, drop it! Drop it!
All right.
I was worried about a gun. He kept going in the car. I almost shot him.
Okay, sir. Yes, I'll do everything you say.
I almost shot him.
I'll do whatever you say.
According to court records, this charge was later reduced to resisting arrest without violence. Detectives looked to David's family to fill in the gaps, and when they show up on his mother's doorstep, she admits he's had some struggles lately.
As God is my witness, he's never hurt anybody or beat anybody. He's only been maybe, destructive maybe with throwing something, or not at you, but just like beating on something.
Who asked for the divorce?
I think she finally did, because she stuck it out as long as she could, and she was trying to help him.
According to friends and family, Gretchen was the primary breadwinner in the relationship, and she supported David through his mental health issues and lapses in employment. During a phone call with police, one friend explains the dynamic.
That he was always on her for money, because he has none.
But eventually, enough was enough. And it seems that David had come up with a plan recently that Gretchen wasn't quite on board with. Gretchen's friend explains the plan.
And then he was obsessed with Costa Rica. And he wanted the money from Gretchen to go to Costa Rica. Wanted to leave like now, and she wouldn't give it to him.
But once authorities saw what was on the video footage at Gretchen's home, it confirmed all fears that something truly terrible had happened. But this wouldn't be the last time that police uncovered horrifying secrets in Gretchen's home. As it turns out, Gretchen had several Blink security cameras installed, and what they reveal makes authorities' blood run cold.
Gretchen's home has cameras throughout it. Were you aware of that?
You took this as personal knowledge.
The first time? Mm-hmm. First time.
Because they're in your car.
What are?
Her cameras.
They're mine.
Okay. They're yours because they came from Gretchen's house, or they're yours because you bought them somewhere else?
They're mine.
They're yours.
The footage you're about to see shows what happened at Gretchen's home on Saturday, March 21st, the last day Gretchen's family saw her. First, cameras show David outside on Gretchen's enclosed back patio. As he sneaks around in the pre-dawn darkness, it appears that someone inside may have noticed him when a light turns on. Police also received one more video, and soon the detectives will confront David with exactly what they saw. But this was only the beginning of what they discovered.
So you're familiar with how Blink works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Blink is a web-based system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can destroy the cameras all you want.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still data and stored cloud storage from Blink. Do you understand that?
That's what you're telling me, so yeah.
Does that look like you?
Could be.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain to you right now. I'm going to tell you something right now, which is real life.
Mm-hmm.
So you were also there. There were cameras in the porch area of her home, which I told you captured not a pleasant interaction between you and Gretchen.
At 6:13 a.m., Gretchen is seen on the footage. The police report states, there's muffled yelling heard as the victim appears to be moved toward the garage door. At approximately 06:14 hours, you hear, "What are you doing?"
I want you to think about that really, really hard right now, okay? I know you think that those cameras that were in her home were gone and broken and taken down, but they were not. I'm telling you that right now. They were stored in the cloud, and I'm not, David, I wouldn't come in here and tell you lies or tell you something that's not the truth.
Right.
Okay? I wouldn't do that. And
well, you've done it before. I mean, you said you were leaving Florida, and then you said you had that friend, and then my vehicle was ready for release. So you have lied before. So I mean, there's a pattern.
Okay.
As the detective breaks down photographic proof, David seems nervous. Desperate for any leg to stand on, he claims that authorities' attempts to apprehend him in New Mexico involve stretching the truth about the status of his pickup truck, and he therefore has no way of trusting a word the detectives say. More footage uncovered from Gretchen's house shows David pacing the garage next to her Mini Cooper. In the video, David loads Gretchen's car while wearing green gloves, similar to those found in his truck. Then he grabs what appears to be a red-stained rag. This footage also shows the moment that David realized he was being recorded and took down the video cameras. The car David is seen packing up is the very same one that was found outside of a Jupiter hospital. But once authorities pull video surveillance of the parking lot, they see that Gretchen wasn't the one to drive it there at all. Instead, it was planted by none other than David.
That is you in her withered vehicle.
So you're saying?
Yep, exactly. That is you cleaning up her garage after there is a incident there.
So you say?
So I say.
David isn't budging on his story, but it won't be long before the detectives find a new way to press David's patience. In the meantime, authorities have yet to reveal the most damning evidence.
Here is a small photo of Gretchen with your face up here.
It doesn't look like Gretchen.
It doesn't look like Gretchen?
Gretchen's alive. I told you that already.
David, we really don't need you to tell us what happened because we already know what happened.
It doesn't matter to us. We have that. We have what happened.
Then what are we
What we
doing?
need to do
What are we doing?
is find her.
What are we doing?
He's telling you.
Well,
We know what happened because the video tells us what happened, right?
Okay.
But
So let's get past that.
Tells you
We'll
what
wait
happened.
past that.
So what happened?
you
I
killed
just
her.
told you what happened. There are no signs of life of Gretchen.
She wants it that way.
No. There is
She would
zero.
never leave her daughter.
Never.
Well, when you're facing what she's facing, as far as what she uncovered, you might change your tune.
David, we know she's dead.
Only time would tell when it came to what actually happened to Gretchen. And soon, more evidence found in her home would make things clear. In the meantime, when detectives spoke with a friend of Gretchen's, they learned that David had a strong bond with Gretchen's daughter, Ava.
We all know she's dead, and you know she's dead.
We're just trying to help Ava out.
Then what are we doing here?
Exactly what we asked. What the thing that I asked you when we first sat down here is to find the location.
If you have all the information that you need, then I don't know what else.
Ava would like for you to tell her where her mother's buried.
Don't use Ava in this.
We are. You see that little girl right there? I want you to look
Yes,
at her.
I love her
Look
dearly.
at her. I know
love her
you do.
dearly. You know,
Look at her real good.
I was the one who taught her how to ride a bicycle and shoot a hoop and use her
that's
awareness.
awesome. Yep, and that's awesome.
Then do what's right for
I
her.
would never hurt her.
Not Ava.
I would never hurt either one of them.
Well, you're hurting her indirectly by not letting us know where her mom is. Ava's a nervous wreck right now. She can't sleep. She can't eat.
Do not use Ava.
You know, we are.
Okay.
Because that's what's left.
Do you know how screwed up this little girl is going to be growing up, not knowing or having any closure about what happened with her mom?
You have no idea.
As David continues to argue his innocence, police are hard at work collecting more evidence. While they're able to spot David's vehicle on Florida toll cameras, referred to as the SunPass system, they aren't surprised to find Gretchen's Mini Cooper absent.
Well, she's still alive, so she doesn't have to worry about it.
What makes you think she's still alive? She's not on the SunPass video when she followed you. You have her phone. You sent the text messages. You planted her car at Jupiter Medical Center because you're on video doing it.
We have all that information.
She had me do it.
No. No way.
She's screaming for her life on that.
Screaming bloody murder as the neighbor described it. You can hear it in the video.
When you put your
Why
hand, when you
why
put
did
her
he call the police then?
Because she didn't. And that woman has to live with that. You know that? That's unfortunate. And I feel bad for that woman. Because that woman has to know.
Nothing happened to Gretchen.
That woman has to know.
You put your hand over her mouth and dragged her into the garage.
It's on video, David.
She's still alive.
You might want to think that, David, because you don't want to face the facts of what you did.
I was trying to warn her.
Okay, you put your hand
trying to warn her.
over her mouth.
I was trying to warn her.
As you dragged her into the garage, then bleached down the driveway.
Right, you have all that.
But unfortunately for you, the cadaver dog hit on the garage, and we found blood spatter. So there's no way that she's alive. You murdered her in that garage, and Ava would like to know where you put her mom. David.
I'm going to protect her, so.
Well, you can protect her all you want, but she's dead. And
She is dead.
And you're being arrested for her murder. And Ava will never forgive you.
And she will never, she might not ever find out where her mother is.
The last possible thing that you can do for that little girl is give her closure.
Yeah, she's still alive.
No, she is not. You were on video grabbing her and dragging her into the garage of that home. There's video of her lifeless body laying on the ground and you in the background cleaning up.
Among the photos police share with David is a heartbreaking snapshot of Gretchen's hair stained red with blood. But when police confront David, he offers yet another excuse. This time, authorities aren't having it.
Well, as soon as Gretchen finishes her whistleblower case...
Gretchen's not going to finish anything. Gretchen is dead.
And she's safe.
David, what part of we have the whole Blink video are you not understanding?
There was video still there, David. It's there. I just want you to understand that. It is there.
Okay.
What are you afraid of? Like, your life can't get any worse right now, right? So why are you hanging on to the story that she's still alive when we've shown you dead pictures of her body?
I haven't seen any pictures of her.
I showed you a picture of a dead woman's hair.
I didn't see her
That's
body.
what, David, that's what it is. I'm telling you that right now. That's what it is.
I didn't see it.
Well, that's what it is. I'm telling you.
Okay.
We all know she's dead. We all know she's dead.
I don't know if she's dead.
Well, we're telling you she's dead. You killed her.
You killed her then.
Wait.
You don't have video of me killing her.
How do you know what we have?
Show it to me.
I just told you.
Show it to me.
You just dragged
Show me
her.
the video.
Show
me the video.
Her dead body.
Show me the video.
I showed you the pictures.
Okay. Picture doesn't tell anything.
Well, I'm telling you it exists.
Do you know what a cadaver dog is?
Tell me.
Detects deceased people, decom.
Human remains.
Right. That dog hid in the garage, walked around that garage, laid it down in a spot, saying that he found something. And what we found...
Animals could be wrong, right?
Her DNA is wrong, but that's her blood.
Soon David shuts down, but his behavior will eventually take a turn.
I have the right to not say anything regarding her.
The wife that you guys are getting divorced and that you've been
But we're not
separated.
divorced. But we're not.
That's not what I said. I said getting divorced.
But we're not. So
And you
I
were
still
separated.
have rights as a husband and wife.
And you were
I still
separated.
have rights as a husband and wife.
And you killed her.
And I've given you as much information as I have. I've been cooperative up to this point, and now you're trying to frame murder on me. So
No, we're not framing
you
you.
are.
You're getting charged.
We're telling you.
You are.
You're charged.
We're telling you, buddy.
Fine.
No framing.
Okay.
There's no framing.
All right.
There's no COVID-19. There's nothing like
There's
that.
no COVID-19?
No, there isn't, because she never went to the hospital. There's no record of her being at the hospital. That was all crap.
So you don't think she's sought alternate treatment somewhere else?
No.
But in the
She doesn't trust the regular. She doesn't trust the regular hospital system.
In the CDC
she's an alternative
facility
healing.
in
She's in
Belgrade.
essential oils.
In the Belgrade receiving facility where you told all of her parents she was?
That's the information she gave me.
No.
So back to enacting my rights as husband and wife. So
what?
What else? What else?
This whole fictitious story about the COVID-19, there was no record of her being at any hospital for COVID-19.
Okay.
Zero record.
Doesn't mean anything.
It sure does.
That still doesn't get away from the fact that we have the blink video of you putting your hand.
You said that. You said it. But she's
You know
alive.
what? I'm just going to go call Eva and tell her that you're not cooperating. We'll see how she feels about that.
All right.
When one detective leaves the room, the other hopes the reality of the situation will sink in, even going so far as to give David a potential out.
Something terrible happened Saturday morning. A terrible event happens. Something, listen to what I'm saying.
So you're saying,
okay, something terrible happened Saturday morning. Something that you probably didn't want to happen. Maybe not. I don't know. But something terrible happened. And it stinks. And it stinks.
She's still alive.
After officers step away briefly, they move David's handcuffs to the front. When they return, they have a surprise up their sleeve.
David, you want water? Sure. You know water right there for you. It's right next to you on the left.
David, I'm going to play something for you. I need you to listen to it. I would like you to listen to it.
David, it's Ava. I love you. I'm scared. I miss my mom.
Well,
I need
Ava.
to know where my mom is. Please do the right thing and tell me
Well,
where my mom is.
It is.
Please,
No.
I love you.
It is. Believe me. She doesn't have to see you as a monster. She will never see her mother again. Do her one last thing. Do Eva one last thing. Let us know where her mother is. You know in your heart that that was Ava on that recording.
The history is long, Jared.
Okay, David. The amount of blood loss inside of her garage and the areas that were cleaned up, there is no way that she would be alive. There was no way that she would make it to Pensacola. Forget about Texas. It doesn't matter. I know that story is bullshit.
Maybe what you found wasn't her blood. Ever thought about that one?
Okay, well you can keep talking your way around it.
I'm just, there's unlimited possibilities here, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like you're trying to fit a square hole in a round peg.
I'm not. I'm telling you facts. You think this whole thing's a joke?
Nope, it's serious.
No, it's very serious.
That's what you just said.
Now you can talk like that. You're acting like a child right now.
Okay. And you're not gonna paint a picture of me looking great anyway. So what does it matter, bro? Come on.
No.
Come on, bro.
In an attempt to move on into a meaningful conversation, the detective plays to David's sense of morality, and it goes as well as you might expect.
How would you feel if you told me where she was? How do you think your body would feel? How do you think your soul would feel?
That question can't be answered.
Think about that. You know how it would make you feel? It would be 1,000-pound weight off your back.
On my back?
Off your back.
On my back.
She is dead.
You must have different information.
You're telling me she's somewhere, but you don't want to provide any information. That doesn't look favorable.
I'm not concerned with your interpretation.
Ultimately, David refuses to confess to any involvement in the disappearance or death of Gretchen, at least for now. When police sense they're not getting anywhere, they leave him with one final thought.
I'm going to step up. Remember that recording. Remember that little girl's
It's not Ava, so.
Remember that little girl's recording? Remember how she feels.
Susie.
And you take that with you.
Sure.
Take it with you. See how it feels.
There was one final piece of evidence that made it clear David was lying all along, straight from Gretchen herself. What you're about to hear are Gretchen's last moments, recorded by her Alexa device on the same morning that she disappeared, and moments after she discovered David on her back patio. After his questioning, David Anthony was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and the kidnapping of Gretchen Anthony. As part of a deal, David pled guilty to both charges. Part of David's plea agreement required that he successfully lead authorities to Gretchen's remains, which were buried in a grassy area behind a Walmart store, 3 miles from her home. Strangely, a tip called in from a man living in Jupiter reported strange smells and buzzards.
I remember noticing kind of a horrible, hot rotting smell as I was driving home from work.
This tip was about an area less than 3 miles from the site of Gretchen's shallow grave. Gretchen Anthony's cause of death involved multiple stab wounds to her torso and neck. As for David, he was sentenced to 38 years behind bars. Some authorities believe he kept the location of Gretchen's body a secret in a possible attempt to gain leverage in his sentencing. But even as he serves his time, he still refuses to face the devastating consequences he's left in his wake. On a recorded jail call, David left the following message for his brother.
I know there's some bad stuff, but there's a ton of good stuff, man. Seriously. Good stuff way far outweighed anything bad, and I never did anything specifically to you. If I did, I did it because I had to do it, not because I wanted to do it.